Este es el Floating Inner Garden del piso 79 de la calle 432 Park Avenue. Esta residencia apta para un multimillonario que parece una exposición de arte, actualmente cuesta 135 millones de dólares. Hagamos algunas cuentas. Si un propietario comprara esta vivienda con un pago inicial del 20% del precio de venta, eso serían 27 millones de dólares. Y la hipoteca y los impuestos mensuales serían aproximadamente unos 500 mil dólares. Y eso es solo un mes. Debes pagar $500,000 todos los meses. Aunque a primera vista pueda parecer una vivienda de lujo minimalista, su elevado precio está ligado a detalles delicados y a los materiales utilizados en su interior. El departamento fue bautizado Floating Inner Garden por el famoso artista y arquitecto japonés Hiroshi Sugimoto, quien diseñó y decoró casi todos los rincones del mismo desde cero, a pedido del propietario anterior. Entre sus creaciones está Accelerated Buddha, una instalación artística que dura 8 minutos ubicada en la entrada de la vivienda. Todos los muebles diseñados a medida, algunas obras de arte originales de Sugimoto y elementos o materiales naturales curados procedentes de Japón. Ahora que tienes toda esa información, conozcamos a Noel, quien nos dará un recorrido por toda la propiedad.
Come on in. In Japanese tradition, when we enter a Japanese home, we put on slippers. We don't bring the outside into the inside. So if you take a pair of slippers, we can start on our tour. And while you're doing that, if you look down, these are stones that were imported from Japan, from the Kyoto train station. They're probably from about the late 1800s. And you'll see them in various places throughout the apartment. So when we walk into the apartment, he built a bridge. And it's very important because when someone comes into their home, they have to forget the outside. It's peaceful, it's quiet. I'll use the word zen. And this bridge separates you from the outside, sort of a welcoming pathway into the home.
La madera que se utilizó para construir este puente es realmente invaluable, ya que está hecho de un trozo de cedro yakusuji de más de 1000 años de antigüedad. Cabe señalar que este tipo de árboles ahora está protegido por el Patrimonio de la Humanidad de la UNESCO y su tala está prohibida.
And the other thing is, if you notice, the stones on the side, the very small side, represent water.
Y siguiendo con la temática del agua, al final del pasillo se puede ver una pequeña escultura que representa los 7 mares. Así que, evidentemente, este no es un vestíbulo normal, pero tampoco es ostentoso, sino que es visualmente discreto y tiene un significado profundo y relevante.
So you come into the apartment and you sit on the mat and you talk to your guests. Someone is making tea. It's heated in that little area right there. And this is how the experience of coming home starts, whether it's with guests or just coming in yourself. It settles you down from the outside inside. The Japanese little plaque up there says the floating inner garden.
En la esquina izquierda de la sala hay otra pieza de arte de valor incalculable, el tsukubai de un antiguo templo japonés, que es una piedra sagrada que suele colocarse en los jardines, para que los visitantes se laven las manos y la boca antes de la ceremonia del té, como gesto simbólico para purificar cuerpo y alma y espiritualmente prepararse para la ceremonia.
This room, as I said, is multi-purpose. You can have a small, intimate conversation over here. You could have a fabulous 200-person Japanese dinner, and you can have a lovely dinner for 12 people sitting in that dining room. Again, everything you see, the curved furniture, is all designed by Sugimoto. This is the Pantheon, which if you notice the circle, again, the circle of the light above, the circle of the cocktail table, the circle of the chairs, all represent life, the beginning and ending, the full circle of life. The floors are very special.
Esta es la misma madera del puente que vimos en la entrada y veremos en toda la vivienda. Como dato de color, el inusual veteado de la madera fue causado por los fuertes vientos que la retorcieron y doblaron en formas únicas.
I wanted to show you what this apartment is about, the floating inner garden. These are 80-year-old bonsai trees that have been planted here in a cedar planter.
Muy jóvenes comparados con la madera de los objetos que los rodean.
Y por si no lo sabías, los bonsáis en sí son increíblemente caros y requieren un mantenimiento muy meticuloso.
Everything's hand cut, and this stone, it's huge, I don't know how many thousand pounds it weighs, came from Japan, and we will see this stone in another part of the apartment. I always get carried away by Sugimoto and the furniture and the art, but the views are spectacular, and you see the entire city, the 4 views of the city, north, east, south, and west. On the south, we see all the iconic buildings of New York, the Empire State Building, the MetLife Building, the Chrysler Building. You see the Verrazano Bridge connecting Brooklyn to Staten Island. I think you can see Florida. If you look very carefully, you can see so far. The windows are 10 feet by 10 feet. And the other thing I wanted to point out were the soji screens.
Mientras estuvimos allí, la cantidad de luz solar que entraba en el departamento era realmente inigualable, porque literalmente no hay otros edificios alrededor que la obstruyan. Por eso las cortinas shoji son muy útiles, ya que le permiten al propietario controlar la cantidad de luz que entra por las ventanas.
The construction of this apartment is beyond anything that I've ever seen. One of the things I want to point out are the floating walls. No wall touches another wall. It doesn't touch the floor or the ceiling.
Y esta es muy probablemente una de las características más pequeñas pero más significativas del departamento, porque gracias a los espacios que existen entre las paredes, las puertas y el suelo, no se oye ningún ruido del exterior. Cuando estás en un piso tan alto asumes que se oirá el viento, o algunos crujidos. Pero cuando estuve allí, había tal silencio que a veces podía oír literalmente los latidos de mi corazón.
I'd like to point out this really magnificent dining room table. It seats probably between 12 and 14 people, again with the round curved chairs. The top of the dining room table is from a piece of wood that's 400-year-old cedar. And the lines in it and the design of it is absolutely beautiful. The bottom is metal. And if you look at the shape of the table shooting out toward the view and toward the city, it reminds you of being on some great ship. And that's the way Sugimoto sees this apartment in some ways. It's a battleship within the city surrounded by water, because you're in the top of the world and you see everything below you, and it's a ship floating through space. And these concepts go on throughout the apartment. I must say that this kitchen is definitely the most beautiful kitchen I've ever seen in 40 years of showing apartments. There are a couple of things that are so unique in this kitchen. One of the things that I love the most are these hammered aluminum cabinets. The exhaust is all hand hammered. The cabinets here have rounded tops, and guess what? You can see inside the kitchen cabinets because it has circles of glass in it, so you know exactly what's in it. You have a beautiful long island with a dishwasher there. We have 2 refrigerators, and we have 4 ovens. And this is a very special item. It's a handmade, hand put together Molteni stove and oven, and I can't think of any cook that would not want to cook on this. Of course, it's gas, and you have the ovens and lots of dials to play with.
La cocina Molteni se importó desde Francia y, al ser tan grande, hubo que ensamblarla in situ.
We also have, of course, the regular ovens and warming drawer down there. And this is very unique, again, designed by Hiroshi. And this stone, you'll see in other parts of the apartment. One other thing I'd like to point out, I've mentioned that the windows are 10 feet by 10 feet. And the size of these windows would be impossible to open up. So they did a very clever thing in the apartment. They've put the openings to get fresh air right down here. Right there. You have fresh air, you can hear the city. So that shows you how really silent this apartment is.
Aunque la cocina es claramente de última generación, los propietarios también tienen la opción de pedir comida en el exclusivo restaurante situado en el piso 12, donde el chef supervisor es Sean Hergat, ganador de una estrella Michelin. De hecho, ahora sería un buen momento para hablar de algunas de las otras instalaciones excepcionales del edificio de la calle 432 Park Avenue.
They have a beautiful swimming pool, again with the 30, 40-foot ceilings. We have one of the best gyms in New York. We have a library. There's a conference room. The whole concept is everything is in this building. So at a time like we've gone through, you don't have to go out. Everything is here, which is really, really nice. This is the family room or den or living room, whatever you'd like to call it. It probably seats, I don't know, 30, 40 people to lounge. It's got beautiful bookshelves. Again, the combination of wood and metal. And one of the most intricate details of the apartment is this long coffee table. It's supported by optic glass. And these big chunks of optic glass came from the Canon factory in Japan. It's what they make the filters out of in a camera. The rug is very special, again designed by Hiroshi. And these circles are very similar to patterns that are used in Japanese gardens. Before we go into the bedrooms, I'd like to point out the cedar ceiling, which is all hand done. Additionally, as I mentioned, there are 2 powder rooms, and I'd like to show you at least one of them because they're beautiful and they're so Japanese inspired. So we have 2 powder rooms, and this area over here, hello?
Sí, esa soy yo. En total, este piso tiene 4 ascensores, 2 para el servicio y para el personal, que es donde me encuentro ahora, y 2 en la entrada, donde está la exposición de arte.
This floor is designed by Sugimoto. They are like little pillows, and when you walk on them, they almost feel soft. They're sort of round on the top, and these pillows are throughout the apartment. And this also, again, in the beginning, remember I said the little stones that sort of act like a river that flows through the apartment? And this is the ideal space because you can see how the little stones in concrete are on the sides of the apartment. And here is another stone. Can you imagine the weight of that boat with all these stones on it? Another stone that Sugimoto personally picked out. Here we have the laundry room, one of my favorite rooms. 2 washers, 2 dryers, big capacity.
Al igual que los ascensores, este es otro elemento de lujo para la ciudad de Nueva York, ya que para muchos neoyorquinos, tener una lavadora y una secadora en el departamento sería una gran ventaja.
Well, no, housekeeping is not included, but we can recommend somebody very good.
Hablemos de algunos beneficios extras que vienen con esta propiedad. Aparte de este departamento de 8,000 pies cuadrados en el que estamos ahora, los propietarios tienen acceso a 2 estudios de unos 1,000 pies cuadrados en total, ubicados en un piso inferior del edificio. Estos espacios pueden configurarse en una gran sala o en dos separadas, y pueden utilizarse para alojar al personal de servicio, a invitados o como si fuese un gimnasio. Las opciones son realmente ilimitadas. Las 4 habitaciones de invitados pueden ser difíciles de distinguir, ya que todas tienen los mismos diseños minimalistas y muebles a medida, como las camas de plataforma, las estanterías biseladas y los escritorios. La principal diferencia entre las habitaciones son las vistas, ya que al ser una vivienda de planta completa, ofrece vistas de 360 grados de la ciudad. Por supuesto, cada dormitorio tiene un baño, menos los dormitorios interconectados que comparten un baño impresionantemente hermoso.
We're now going into sort of the primary part of the apartment. I wanted to point out these walls are shikui plaster.
El yeso shikui es un yeso tradicional japonés a base de cal, que está hecho de calcio de alta pureza, extracto de algas y fibra vegetal natural. Este material mejora la calidad del aire al absorber dióxido de carbono y malos olores, regula la humedad y elimina naturalmente bacterias, virus y moho.
And one of the things about shikui walls, I hope you can see it as we walk down the hall. It's done in a single motion, one wall at a time.
Los propietarios tuvieron que traer artesanos expertos desde Japón solo para instalar estas paredes. El proceso fue meticuloso y requirió que varias personas pintaran a mano simultáneamente.
They have this door here that separates the apartment from the other bedrooms and the public areas. And we have 2 primary bathrooms. I will take you into the first. We walk through the closet, which is really ample. And remember the stones in the floating garden in the salon? They're here as well, with a rain shower and the view and a wood sink that is actually stainless steel hidden below the wood. And anything else you see in this room that's interesting? Anybody notice? It's that chair. That doesn't come with the apartment. That is the owner's favorite chair. And it is not designed by Sugimoto, but everything else is.
Cuando vi esta silla por primera vez, me llamó mucho la atención, porque estaba ubicada en el baño. Así que le pregunté a Noel por qué y me dijo, cuando tienes un baño tan bonito, a veces solo quieres relajarte en él, ya sea antes o después de ducharte, lo cual es entendible. Y hermoso.
So let's go into the other main bathroom.
Debo confesar que no pude disimular en absoluto lo mucho que me sorprendió la belleza de estos baños. Creo que la foto principal que se ve en el sitio web de este departamento fue tomada aquí.
One of the lovely features of the apartment to keep the Japanese inspiration is this really beautiful cedar soaking tub, all natural. And when you're sitting in this tub and looking at that view, nothing's better than that. We have the same stones that were in the entrance. Again, we have a large shower and a Japanese toilet, Toto, and just a beautiful place to hang out in. Now we're going to the primary bedroom. You'll notice that it's super simple and totally relaxing. 3 windows, corner view. Here, 57th Street, all the new buildings. And Heron, take off your shoes. That's it. And walk on the floor. These are hand-scooped chestnut floors. As you walk on them, your foot gets massaged. And just walk across the bedroom. It's delicious. It's so good.
I like that. It is really delicious.
Isn't it? Again, the platform bed, the desk, the lounging couch to sit and look out the window. There's a computer, little work, and the metal shelves. And, you know, I point all these things out about the art on the wall, but my God, the view is just spectacular.
I don't think I've seen a view like this from even like the Hudson Yards building or the Empire State Building.
Well, one of the reasons the view is so special here is we're in Midtown. We're in the middle of the city. And getting back to where he said, like a ship moving through the water, this is moving through the city. And these materials and these symbols and the art and the furniture are all connected. And the purpose, again, of this apartment is to provide calm, peace, and a beauty that makes you feel good. That's what it's all about. As we leave the quietness of the master bedroom, we complete the circle of the apartment and we wind up back in the tea room where it all started. I would like to recap the tour a little bit. It's 432 Park Avenue. It's an 8,000 square foot full private floor. We have 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 2 powder rooms. The price of the apartment is $135 million.
Después de la visita, le pregunté a Noela cuánta gente le había enseñado este departamento desde que fue puesto en el mercado. Y dijo que se lo había enseñado a pocas personas, y que todas eran multimillonarias. De hecho, dijo que esta propiedad será probablemente el hogar de uno de los 2.750 multimillonarios que se sabe que existen en el mundo. Y gracias a su experiencia en la venta de casas de lujo, aseguró que estos multimillonarios en general compran estas viviendas en efectivo, y no necesitan ningún tipo de financiación. Espero que hayan disfrutado de este episodio de Propiedades de Lujo. No se pierdan el primer episodio y suscríbanse a Insider para los próximos. Gracias por ver.